Hi, I'm Michelle Chen, and I'll be reading from two poems. Emily Dickinson rides the subway. Because I could not open the door, the MTA kindly opened it for me. My car held but just ourselves and barnyard decency. We slowly rode. We were late, and I had put away my laptop and my gilded watch for fear of high larceny. We passed the station where children blocked their ears from our wheels' shriek. We passed the fields of Cheeto bags. We passed the sleeping bum. Or rather, they passed us. My legs grew quivering in ache. For only a small seat, my jail. My breath only stretch. We paused before a man that seemed a widening of the shame. The seat was scarcely visible, the pole dancer on the ground. Since then, 'tis centuries, and yet feels shorter than the day I first surmised the man-spreader's thighs were toward atrocité. This is my next poem on place. I know the time I was young in Singapore when a damaged, eaten brain swiveled on screen in an anti-smoking public health war that waged in my own dreams. Pitchforks in a gory brain and scenes where I was running and being run from a stranger who wouldn't believe me. The yellow pages were still in back then, and my dreams often involved strangers on the doorstep, one at a time, telling me that they didn't believe I had stolen the ink-thick tome. Though I think this was actually New York because there weren't any yellow pages in Singapore, and it's also blurry. I think I lied when I said Singapore in the first line. I'll make sure not to do that again. This really was Singapore, the high tower my mother and grandma lived in, the Korean dramas with subtitles, or the Chinese ones where we didn't need any subtitles, pure flesh voices in the language we lived, where I'd always insist on taking their hands during the theme song and doing a line dance. The boys, when they played with my doll, wormed those greasy hands in, twisted her arm, and I cried. The trip to a zoo at the very southern tip or something of Asia, and the porcupine photo with my scared baby face, couldn't take my eyes off it. My mother lifting me in her arms, the bright flamingos in the background. Lately, I read that flamingos sleep without lying down. No fear, all pink, one-legged or two, I forget. I'd like to say that I learned something or such, the importance of hand contact, eye contact in my young Singapura head, but now I'm asking, in a damn open letter from this side of being young, the other side of this smokescreen sea, teach me how to swallow and spit. Teach me how to sleep standing up.
Hi, I'm Maya Liu, and I'll be reading a piece titled Of Flammability and Fixability. It's New Year's Eve, and I am in a remote basement sucking down the last of someone's bar mitzvah money. Inhale, swallow, exhale, hum. She takes it like a man, someone's friend says to the boyfriend I am stitched to. I like this one. Darby is too many miles away with an open flame boy licking at her propane personality, and I wonder, shawling the unfamiliarity of this basement tight around my shoulders, who will hold her hair tonight under the Brennan's prize-winning wisteria. Back in the basement, I am gridlocked in a sinusoidal relationship, and I lean over, whisper to him, kiss me at midnight. And he smiles, I promise, of course, you know I will, and lies down on the pool table. Love you? Yeah, I answer, and he gives me a corn syrup smile. Somewhere upstairs in the pristine foyer, they're rich here, I think. A Women's Health magazine screams that corn syrup is ruining our lives and also the Midwest. Darby always tells me she's jealous of my relationship, and I always ask her if she's ever seen one of those first aid kits on the school buses, next to the rear view mirror and the sign that says the security cameras may or may not be on, they're not, and that you have to be okay with it either way. We aren't. Yeah, she says, never seen anyone use it though. And I say, yes, exactly, that's exactly the point. Who's to say that everything you need is in there? On New Year's Eve, Darby ends up kissing the lit wick. There is no explosion, but also no words. She licks her lips and tastes ashes and calls me when the calendar ends up in the trash. Happy New Year, I say, but Darby doesn't speak. I hear her deep breathing through static and hang up. Love you? The boyfriend asks and kisses me. Our lips knock at 12:03. Later, we end up on the futon, plowing fields of dent corn, silently mechanic and addictively unnatural. We're ruining the Midwest and each other. Later still, I will hold reels of my own hair, smiling into the porcelain gut of someone else's toilet bowl. I wonder who is holding Darby's hair.
I'm Sarah Benson, and this is my piece, Down to the Arroyo. My father takes me down to the arroyo when I am so small that I do not yet reach his waist. My feet fumble across flaking desert skin, and he pulls me along gently by my hand and tells me to be careful of small cacti and the bones of dead jackrabbits. Earlier, my father had crept into my room with the sun and shaken me into consciousness. "Get your sneakers," he had whispered. "We're going on a treasure hunt." It is minutes later now, and we are trudging down an overgrown trail, tactfully descending the deep slopes of New Mexican land. I almost trip over a weed, but my father steadies me and says, "Almost there, baby." The arroyo is different than I have ever seen it. It is scattered with long silver puddles. Around us, green tufts of vegetation burst from the earth in unpredictable patterns, and the ground looks shiny and slippery in the pink glow of the rising sun. My father tells me to wait, and he steps down into the wet sand. He crouches over and digs into the earth with a discarded stick. Then he stands, approaches me, and places in my hand something slimy and smooth. "A pottery shard," he says, "from the Native Americans who lived right here 1,000 years ago. If we're lucky, we'll find the pieces of an entire pot." I look down at the strange triangular stone and wipe the sand from its surface. He lifts me up in his arms, carries me back towards the house. My father gives me a book about Georgia O'Keeffe for my 5th birthday. He points at a landscape that looks like a rumpled tablecloth and tells me, "This is why we're here." I steal a flashlight and flip through the book under my covers at night. I touch the same glossy picture and whisper, "This is why we're here." When I am 6 years old, the Sunday school teacher asks what my father does for a living. I tell her he is an artist, like Georgia O'Keeffe. I do not know I am lying. I do not know he hasn't sold a piece in months. I do not know my mother sits at the kitchen table after I go to sleep and cries because the mortgage is past due and she can't figure out a way to tell me that this year, Santa Claus just might not make it. For Christmas, my father gives me a sparkling blue stone he found in the arroyo. I say thank you and pretend I mean it. Later, I stand on the edge of our brick patio and throw the rock as far as it will go. It disappears inside the bristles of a pine tree. I do not say goodbye to the arroyo before we go. I do not say goodbye because I think that I won't miss it. We are leaving New Mexico. We are going to New York, where my father will get a real job and we will become a real family. We drive alongside a cliff, jagged and sprinkled with diamonds. I press my finger against the glass. This is why we're here. When I am 16 years old, my father takes me back to New Mexico, and we go once more to the Arroyo. The trail is long gone now, and we stumble over dried-up cacti and colorless desert flowers. I am too old now to hold my father's hand. He walks a few steps ahead of me, and I do not see his face. The Arroyo is bone dry, littered with dented soda cans, beaten strips of tire, and mud-stained garbage bags. Many monsoon seasons have left its sides tall and smooth, except for the roots of long dead plants still lodged in the dirt, which reach towards us like skeleton hands. My father crouches over, and his shirt draws taut across his back. He parts the earth with his fingers, searching for something he will never find again. No more pottery, he says. He squints his eyes against the sun. It must have washed far away by now. Suddenly comes to me the vague image of my father pressing a pottery shard into my palm. I wonder if he too has washed far away.
Hi, my name is Lola Todman, and this piece is called To the Future with Love. Here's to the future with love, because erosion always comes before the mountain rises. This is what I'd like to say as you lay in pieces on my bedroom floor, that there is some part of you rising, and that I know you can't see it, but everything skyward is waiting to meet you. The mountains, the oak trees, and children have taught me the most beautiful things take longest to grow. There will be red wine, fresh paint days, when you are sipping from the bottle deciding, maybe yellow was too bright for the kitchen. Maybe you only liked it because your mother said it would be. And there will be nights you come home to a lover who treats your body like Eden, who reaches for you as the night shifts are ending, who kisses you like a half moon meeting its dark. But you have small hands, meant for catching rain and writing music, not bridging the gap between decades you don't want to live through. You don't want the losses. You don't want the letdowns. But failure to launch is just failure to aim, so look up. Sometimes you are tied. Getting honey when you ask for sugar is not the worst thing. No, you don't always get what you want. But you do get the best thing for you. And sometimes we are not fit to decide. Sometimes we are in pieces on the bedroom floor, asking for a love we only need because we cannot produce it. Sometimes we pass beauty on the street and think about it for days, but pass mirrors like we're trying to forget our own face. Asking for a lover and getting the time to love yourself is not the worst thing. No, you don't always get what you want, but you do get the best thing for you. So here's to the future with love, to getting more than a good poem out of something that was supposed to stay, but here's to the things that don't stay. The leaves that wither in autumn's exhale, the breath blooming white and fading into spring. You cannot miss what never leaves you. Cannot fear being left, cannot learn that fear balances the loving heart, cannot learn balance if nothing is tipping your scales. There will be black coffee, stiletto boot days, when you feel beautiful simply because you feel like a woman. Days you photograph the lipstick smudges on your paper cups and paint your nails because finally you've stopped biting them. You will laugh through every song about a boy with big eyes or a small heart. Your mother will make more sense even if you don't understand her. One day you're going to smile, and not because she told you to. So here's to the future with love, because I know, right now, you don't know if you're getting better or getting worse and getting used to it. But you are getting somewhere. So look up. If you cannot tell which part of you is rising, let it be hope. Because if you cannot stand, at least you can dream. And when you cannot dream, well, then you have me. To remind you that you're getting somewhere, So here's to the future with love.